aim of the Touch and Rice podcast is to spread fun in the touch football community. We talk a little bit of touch footy chat, but mostly play games and throw some banter. Hosts Cess and Kimmy would like to pay respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet.
My name is Jorgie Skiing, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet here today. Today we're meeting in Meanjin, and those traditional owners are the Yagara and Turrbal people. And I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging, and acknowledge my people, the Gubbi Gubbi people. Extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in today.
Mabuhay, Kimmy.
Howdy.
We're missing Shanks today, so it's just the three of us. Welcome to our guest for today's episode, Quinn.
G'day.
On the sunny coast, originally from Sydney, which we'll get into in a moment. Actually, let's just jump straight into it, into your brag sheet, Quinn. So Parramatta Eels Junior, you've since moved up to the Sunshine Coast, beautiful Queensland, great part of the world. You've won an NTL's title, Men's Opens in 2012 with the Sydney Scorps. You've won some New South Wales State Cups and Vorden Cups for Parramatta Division 1. But then you were saying that in your brag sheet, your highlight was the 2015 Men's Opens Prems. And you've also won a couple, throw it out there, a couple of Queensland State Cups, senior mixed since moving up here. Quite impressive brag sheet.
It does sound impressive when you read it out like that, mate. Look, to be honest, for a lot of those teams, I was probably the 14th man picked. But I have absolutely loved having touch footy in my life when I've made it a priority and been lucky enough to rub shoulders with a lot of pretty special people. So,
excellent. And I'm sure we'll talk more about that in our set of six. Let's jump straight into our set of six. So set of six touch-related question for you on the back of the impressive brag sheet that you have. And regardless of whether you're the 14th man or the first man picked, I think it's still an achievement to be part of those amazing squad with some star-studded players. So rewinding right back to juniors, tell us about your touch origin story, which will make up question one of our set of six.
Okay, so touch origin story. As a precursor, I tend to give far too much context to any story that I tell. So I'm out of kind of inner Western Sydney, originally one of two kind of pretty brown brothers to a Caucasian Pakeha Kiwi country single mother. And money was tight and I was a bouncy kid. So I was very much a kid raised by the village and tagged along to swimming carnivals with that neighbour's parent and basketball camps with that kind of friend's parent. And my best mate in the world, Liam Liston, his mother, Debbie Bruin, a pretty special person, and his father, Jack Liston, who we lost to cancer about 10 years ago, is actually a West Hall of Famer. So he won Vorden Cup, State Cup with West's, State of Origin with New South Wales, and World Cup with Australia. And you can fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure if you reach that mountain in West, you go up in the rafters. So I spent a lot of time at both of their houses. And as a kid, 8, 9, 10, Liam and I would tag along to Sunday morning touch at Balmain with Debbie and get a run in kind of a social mixed comp. And with Jack, I kind of was an honorary list and went away on family holidays with them. So we would tag along with him for training and do sprints and passes and stuffs. And he put us in at Doyle Ground at Parramatta and coached us for a couple of years. And at about 12, Liam and I were selected in the under 14s, I want to say, for Parramatta, which was coached by Bus Boland and had a couple of names. Jai was someone in that team. There was a guy, Kiwi Chris, who went on to play a pretty good level for Wests in that team, and a few other talented guys. And we won a drop-off against Penrith at the Kingsway Fields for Junior State Cup. And from that moment, I was hooked. I played a couple more junior seasons with Parramatta before kind of taking rugby a bit more serious. And then a few pretty social competitions as a young adult for Ryde Eastwood, Hawks, and then found my way back to Parramatta as a young man. So that's kind of where touch footy started. But yeah.
Nice. And no doubt some of those names, if you're, especially from out west, but even at any sort of rep level, will resonate with a lot of the touch crowd. Mate, question number 2 for you, which probably leads on nicely from what you've just spoken about with family and the people that you've tagged along with just to Sunday Touch and then evolved into your touch career. What's your favourite thing about touch?
That's a good question. I genuinely love the game. I think I get energized talking with. I think there's a couple of different types of touchies. There's footy players that are athletes that go really well, and then there's like tacticians and chess masters that really think about the game on an intricate level. And I'd like to think I'm somewhat close to that, because that's the kind of shit I geek out on, man. And having a conversation with someone like yourself, or the thinkers of the game that really love what this sport is, and the nuance involved in it all, it just lights me up. So I'm passionate about the game. But I don't know, man, I think about like we as a touch community, if you want to play at a good level, you need to be going away a lot, and there's a big financial investment. But I tend to think about that through the lens of, if you're passionate about something, you got a craft you're invested in, and it lights you up. If you had an opportunity to commit yourself to that in a really intensive way, with people that were also committed and passionate about this interest and this craft, and you had a lead up campaign and then an event where you were just immersed in it with kind of a swirl of other people that appreciate this craft or this interest as passionately as you do, you'd fucking pay up for it, man. So I see the tournaments and the going away as a real privilege to invest in a passion and keep yourself positive. So health is good for me. I always have to keep on top of my health. So when I've got something on the calendar I'm aiming to, and I'm around people that are looking after themselves, and I have an obligation to a group, makes me look after myself too. So
that's actually so true. I think the only time I ever try to get myself fit is in the lead up for some sort of tournament. Otherwise, it just goes missing. So,
dude, I can't go to the gym unless there's something on the calendar. I get so bored. But if there's something on the calendar, I think it's maybe out of like fear of shame and letting people down. Get up early and get to the gym. I don't want to let my teammates down.
So true.
It's a really good point. Before we move on to question 3, I'll add to that just my 2 cents. I think the toughest thing for me, and I'm bringing this up because I know Kimmy won't mind sharing, but she's under the weather today with a bout of COVID. It's still around, but so we'll get to that in a moment with the games when we move on to that section. But 2019, when it was around the peak of COVID, when we were in lockdown and whatever, and couldn't play touch, that was so tough. Everything else, going on in the world with, not being able to interact with people and staying in your house and all the rest of it. Touch was a big part for anyone involved in the touch community, I'm sure will agree, was a real drag, was a real downside of not being able to play, not be able to catch up with mates. So once we were able to, open back up again and get to some tournaments, I remember the New South Wales State Cup, because I was living down there at that stage, with restrictions and timing of people moving in and out, and COVID officers, which sounds crazy now, but there were COVID officers dedicated to making sure people were keeping their distance or whatever else. Is just nice to get back into that space. And I agree with you, Quinn and Kimmy as well. If there's something on the calendar, that's what I'm working towards, and it's something to look forward to, and something to keep you healthy and keep you fit, whether that's NTLs and then rolling into a state cup, World Cup, even just a Metro Cup tournament. I know that got me off the couch after a World Cup come down to make sure I'm okay and in somewhat some sort of physical condition to participate in that. So 100% agree with you both there. Really, really good answer.
A lot of clubs are still just bouncing back from the impact of COVID too, man. Like, you got to think about how much that shattered through the infrastructure of the clubs, So a lot of them are still just piecing back together kind of where they were at in terms of playing numbers and stuff. So big impact.
Yeah, that's a good point. Question 3 for you. What would you say is your best achievement in touch footy? Out of those other things that I listed.
Touch footy or in life?
Touch footy.
It's a good question. I was pretty lucky to kind of get involved with some of those Scorpions teams, kind of wrong guy, right place, right time. And the New South Wales State Cup is probably it. But then I've been involved in some other bits and pieces, with so up at where I'm on the coast, when I got here, the lay of the land in terms of kind of pathways and structure, the things that probably in the bigger CBD areas we take for granted, because we know what a big functioning club with committee members that have really well kind of versed job descriptions and what that looks like and feels like when a club is functioning. up here, it wasn't quite the same. So being involved with a little bit at Kiwana and playing for Kiwana, and Kiwana are going to be the crown jewel of Sunshine Coast Touch in 5 years, 10 years. They've got all of these incredible people that have played at a high level and been where they need to be, that are in position and coordinated and cohesive and building this thing up. So keep an eye on the mighty Kiwana Snappers. But up at Coolum, we're a kind of a little club that's boxed in to the north by Noosa and Gympie, and to the south by Kiwana, and then obviously Caboolture. So we've kind of invested in being a bit of a mixed club. You know, the talent pool kind of is what it is. And for 4 years, a mate of mine, Marcus Farah, and then the committee there, Cass, Peter Feldman, and Isaac Vincitoria, and the Swannies, have really invested in bringing the right kind of people with the right character out of that community and trying to teach them what it feels like and looks like to run a successful campaign. So that's big, but it's kind of hard to top New South Wales State Cup 2015, mate. That was huge.
Nice
I feel
one.
like that's a common answer for most people who have had the luxury of playing competitions in both New South Wales and Queensland. And it's New South Wales State Cup. There's something about that tournament where you're playing with and against some of the best players in the state and the country, but also that sense of it's almost like a touch festival the weekend. So you get to catch up with mates, tents like all over the shop, just the way that it's run, and then you've got that night out at the end of the week to really celebrate and celebrate with everybody. It's just, if you haven't played it, you'll have no idea what we're talking about. But it's the one tournament I think everyone who's had the pleasure of playing will agree that if you could only pick one, that would be the tournament that you'd
go to. Well, State Cup, that's it. That's exactly right. And NTL at a top level is ridiculous. Yeah. Like those Elite 8 comps and men's opens comps are, like, when I look at it now, there has been an evolution of the athlete. I'm 100% sure of it, but I look at that and think, man, how the hell did I kind of hang at this level of speed and athleticism? That is ridiculous. And anyone can knock anyone off in that comp, but South Wales State Cup, man, is brutal. And you need a lot of things to break your way to come out the end of the 3 days. But that particular 2015 State Cup, so there's too much context. So Parramatta were a dynasty through the 80s and 90s with Bus Bowl and Paul Barton. A lot of people might not even recognize these names. And then through the 90s, where Shane Fredrickson and Jamie Stowe and Adam Fahim came through and won. And at 2001, they won their last comp. And then there was like a generational slide where those guys were still kind of there. And then there were some young up-and-coming kids like Jordan Marshall-King and his younger brother Jeremy, and Caden Wynyard and Daniel Barton and Tim Barton. And there was a bit of a flex and a pull to try and keep Parramatta competitive. And through the years leading up to that tournament, we had a season or two where some people came in, like Kane Rangi came for a season, and we were competitive but didn't quite climb the mountain. And Dill Thompson and Scott Bundy from that Doyleson crew were down, and it just didn't quite work. And a lot of us who are kind of the lads from Doyle Park, the local guys, were kind of first divvy and investing in a culture and taking our time to see what it could work like and bouncing up and down. And in 2015, it was kind of the first time that we looked around and thought, it's all of us from Doyle Park. And that campaign, we were playing poker together, having poker nights, playing soccer together, shooting hoops together. And in that tournament, we got to that tournament, and I don't know if either of you remember or were around it, but the mighty Murwillumbah Mavericks were a red hot team, captained by Peter Norman. They had guys like Jaden Love and Stevie Lutit, who were kind of South Queensland Sharks guys. And so
the Sharks Murwillumbah.
Right. And that was kind of unfair because so in my role with New South Wales Touch, I worked really closely with a man I love and respect, Mitchell Alexander, who's now the GM or maybe Director of Operations for Palm Beach Touch. And if you go down to Palm Beach Touch and have a look and think, holy shit, they're running 350 junior teams, that guy is the reason why. But so Murwillumbah, we're a little kind of Northern Rivers club run by Mitch and his parents. And he gave birth to the Northern Rivers Touch League to try and get people interested there. But they're about 40 minutes from the Gold Coast, 45 minutes from the Gold Coast. So that's the equivalent of me driving to Penrith on a Wednesday and being eligible to play for Penrith. So it was a little bit unfair that they were coined Queensland, but man, it added to the atmosphere. And all through that tournament, people were murmuring because Murwillumbah went through, I think, undefeated. And everyone kind of in the older divisions were saying, it's fucking Queensland. Oh, they've just stacked a team and entered them. So when we came into that final, we were the lads from Doyle, and there was, outside of the Murwillumbah teams, not one person was cheering for them. And there was a New South Wales chant, and it was an intense match. About 20 minutes in, it was only 1-1, and then we went down and put on a try. They came back, put on a try. Pete Norman jumped over Dan Barton, potentially the best defender of all time, and then we went back and ran a play we'd drawn up, and Geordie Marshall sent it, and then it goes to a drop off, and at the end of the drop off, Kai Simbol and Geordie Marshall run a little quickie in 3-on-3. Geordie Marshall lifts the ball up. I thought he was going to drop it, slammed it down on the ground, game over. It was incredible. What an experience. But all of that atmosphere and that hype was just ridiculous, man.
You actually took me straight back. I was there, and I remember that New South Wales chant, and it was just epic. It was just one of those, like, I can't remember the last time the stadium was like that packed out with people like staying to want to watch a game. And this was, albeit live streaming has now kind of contributed to people just leaving because they can watch it at home. But yeah, that was just, I remember so many people stayed to watch it, and the stadium was packed out. Everyone was packed out around like where you could go onto the fields. And yeah, you took me straight back to it. That New South Wales chair, even though obviously you guys were para, but it was like, it must have been that feeling to know that everybody there was backing you guys. Would have been amazing.
And that was a big part of the narrative. And particularly like, because as a club, we had kind of tried some things and eventually landed on, I think there was 7 or 8 of us that came through our little first division crew that kind of built a bit of a culture together. And when we were looking around at the end of it, there was about 7 or 8 of us that had actually played under Mark's brother, Mick Boland, in first division for a few years and kind of came through. So that was special, man. It was awesome. I'll never forget that.
That's a good one.
The way you've described it, I don't blame you for picking that as your best achievement. And this probably answers question 4. I'd be surprised if you said anything differently. Favorite competition? I'm assuming you're going to say New South Wales State Cup after that memory.
Yes, it has to be New South Wales State Cup. What goes into a campaign and how hard it is to win and how many things have to break your way with injury and timing of games and how your approach has to be to come out on top it's got to be New South Wales State Cup.
Yeah, that's fair. Question number 5 for you. A little bit away from, well, not really away from competitions, but just a little bit different. You've played in some big games. You've played in NTL finals. You've played in, we just spoke about State Cup. You've played in Queensland State Cup finals. Any big game superstitions?
Not particularly, man. I think, like, when I think back, like a lot of the time at the Scorpions, I wasn't sure if I deserved to be there, kind of. Like, I knew I can run past catch off both feet. But I spent most of the time there just an anxious wreck trying not to mess up, out of like adoration and respect for kind of the people around me and the systems I was in. So I was a bit of an anxious wreck, man. And when I think back, there was a missed opportunity. But I do believe in having a really consistent, replicated warm-up as a team or as an individual, and to do it on repeat every time you're preparing for a match or a training session. And I believe in that because, man, I spend everything I'm doing in my life, I try and give everything of myself to it. So that kind of mental, yes, it's to physically warm up, but that mental transition from being a dad or kind of an employee or the things that are kind of hovering over yourself, using that as a mental transition to kind of break away from that and be completely focused for the next hour, 2 hours on what that is really important to me. So.
Really good point. I will touch on that as well from my perspective. And I didn't really even think about it until you mentioned it just then. The importance of those routines. I think back to, and I've been fortunate enough to win in New South Wales State Cup as well with the Newcastle City Knights senior mixed a couple of times. And I think back to our warm-ups, and they they were military like. You had the same guy running it. Everyone knew what was next. It was a sequence of events. And I think without even knowing it at the time, probably it was just getting everyone prepared for getting onto the field, going out to battle, and playing the game that we wanted to play.
Kind of narrows your focus, right? It's a psychological shift that really just kind of, yeah.
Yeah, good answer. I like it. Last question for you in the set of 6. Touch future for Quinn. What are some goals? What are the things coming up? I know just from knowing you and talking to you and texting and seeing you at Metro Cup, what's coming up at the end of this year. But any other big plans coming up for Quinn and touch football? You mentioned the stuff you're doing at the Sunny Coast. You've got a hand up there at the Coolum Bluefins.
Yeah, so I do have I'm kind of involved in the direction we're taking as senior mixed. But we've kind of had this crew together for 3 or 4 years. And I wasn't sure whether a friend of mine that really was pivotal in kind of bringing this crew together has stepped back. And I wasn't sure if it was kind of like a bit of an organic closure to a window of time, which happens, but I have for years dreamt about being the wily old veteran that brings along a group of young whippersnappers. So where there's an opportunity for me to run a bit of a box-side wing and yell at 16-year-old kids, I think that's something I'd like to do for the next few years.
In a good way, yell at 16-year-old kids in a good way.
Well, that's how you learn, right? Like I think back to all of the things I picked up. Like I spoke about playing at kind of Balmain comp with Debbie Bruin in like a social mix team at 10, 11, 12. And that's where you pick things up, or running alongside Bus in a mixed comp at Parramatta, where he says, when you went that way, if you thought about what was happening in front of you, did you think about that? And that kind of like veteran mentorship is what kind of plants the seeds to make you think about what you're doing and why, right? You can run through your division as the best athlete, score 1 million tries, but that mental voice can really, really kind of propel your game and how you think about the sport. So I'd like to be that voice. Yeah. Especially while my body's starting to give out.
Yeah. Before we move on from the set of 6, Quinn, just quick plug. I know you're doing some apparel work now. Shout out to the business. Where have you landed? What are you doing? And what's that connection to touch football? The connection you're trying to make to touch football?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. So the last 10 years, I've been in social work and community services. It's something I did I got into as a bit of a young adult and worked in a number of roles. The last 4 years, I was working at you could maybe call it a flexi school. Here in Queensland, we call it a special assistant school for kids that were slipping through the cracks in mainstream and needing a bit more of a wellbeing focus and a bit of an adjusted approach to education. But I was starting to, and I'm really proud of that and have no regrets about giving my life to that, but I was starting to feel like, I don't know if I've got another 10 in me, bro. Like the energy that it takes to kind of offer yourself in that space, which is probably not too dissimilar to any service industry, nursing, teaching. But something I've always geeked out on is sports apparel, man, and the designs and fabrics and textures and garmentry. So I've landed with a crew, Vito Sports in Brisbane, shameless plug. But they have spent the last 10 years developing kind of garments and systems for football clubs. So it's super dope. I call it football. I used to call it soccer, but I call it football now because I'm cultured. And so they were having a look at whether or not touch football is an area of interest, and a conversation led to a conversation, and I'm playing around with products and seeing what works and what doesn't with the capacity that they've already developed, and then having a look at kind of the lay of the land. I think, like you'll know, in touch football, we've got Stratis and Inferno, kind of driven by 2 Hall of Fame legends of the game, and huge respect to both of them. So it may or may not be worth it, but I'm pretty excited to do some dope stuff and see what happens from there. So thanks for asking, bro.
No, not a problem. And well, let's continue on that shameless plug. And you have nagged your first trial with the PNG crew that are competing at the end of this year. So keep an eye out for those guys.
Yeah, Queensland PNG Dubaras. So they're playing at a cultural event later in the year. I had a chat with Nate Wood, who anyone in kind of southern Queensland or in the PNG community would know Nate. Anyone in kind of the touch community probably should know Nate. He's incredible. And I had a conversation with him about, hey, bro, this is kind of where I'm at. This is the product range I'm thinking of trying. Are you interested? So I'm really excited to see how it came out. We got the initial graphic artwork back, and I'm excited to see it. see it come to life. Yeah,
Excellent.
man. It's been awesome.
So anyone out there in the touch community, Quinn mentioned, we know the big players, who the big players are, but if you're looking to try something different, then hit Quinn up at Vito Sports.
Right.
That's it for the set of 6, Quinn. Well answered all of those. Let's get to know Quinn on a more personal level. Kimmy and I know him to a degree, but let's get to know him a little bit more personally in the next segment, which is Kimmy's Corner.
So it's a little bit of fun, Quinn, don't worry about it. So I've come up with a few categories, and the best way I can describe this section of the podcast is I'm going to ask you to describe yourself, and I'm going to give you a category to describe yourself in that category.
Okay.
All right, so the first one should be easy enough. Ice cream flavor. If you were an ice cream flavor, which one would you be?
Pistachio.
Any reasoning behind pistachio?
Not too sweet. And maybe unexpectedly interesting.
That's a great answer, and I will tell you why. So in my recent trips to Europe, before I went to Europe recently, I never had gelato, pistachio as my ice cream or gelato flavor. And then last year, tried it for the first time in Italy and was completely surprised at how good that flavor was. Yeah. And it's now my number 1 order.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I've only recently been swayed, similar to you, Kimmy, not over in Europe, but I was just at Redcliffe for it was a food and wine festival a few weeks ago. Beautiful weather, great scenery, all the rest of it. And went up, got a gelato with the little man. And I said to the guy, we're just going to share one. What's the, they had 6 or 7 choices. And he said, this pistachio crunch, salted caramel pistachio crunch by far will smash everything, bestseller. I will never go back. It was phenomenal. So I do not blame you for describing yourself that way, Quinn.
That's an absolute banger of an answer. All right.
Yeah, great answer. Great answer.
The next one, I'll give you 2 options. You can either choose a song or a music genre.
Oh, okay. Do I have to say it before I receive the question?
No, that's it. So these are all the categories.
I have to describe myself as a song or a music.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You said this was going to be easy. Music genre. Dude, maybe like neo soul. I was raised on kind of neo soul, D'Angelo and Lauryn Hill and other bits and pieces. So neo soul, bit of heart, a lot of melody, nice and relaxed.
Yeah, I think you've answered that perfectly well. All right, a movie. Again, it can be one movie or like a movie genre.
Okay. The Irishman.
Irishman. Is that who's in that? I don't think I know that one. Oh, sorry. Cess, do you know it?
It's an action movie, right?
Scorsese.
Yeah.
Scorsese with Joe Pesci and the crew. Yeah. Bit of a mob movie. It goes for 4 hours. It's a bit long, but it's consumable and interesting.
Another good answer. All right, next one, color.
Navy blue.
Soothing. Okay, yeah. Mysterious. That's what I'm going to go with. Next one, season. There's only 4 to pick from, so.
Spring. This right now is my favorite time of the year on the Sunshine Coast. You can jump in the ocean if you want to. Don't sleep in. Get up, get after it. Spring, man.
Yeah. Spring slaps in Queensland.
Spring slaps in Queensland.
You can jump in the ocean in winter where you are, Quinn, so the sunny coast.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but hey, it's beautiful all year round.
That's what you can about up here though. Like we're different to the CBDs, man. Like here on the coast, we rise early and we get exercise in, we get good coffee in, we get ocean in, and then we get down early. And it's like in the CBD, maybe you'd be a bit different because you'd want to make use of the bars and the clubs and the restaurants and stuff. But here, it's a good lifestyle, man, for spring.
I concur. All right, next one, holiday. Favorite, like what type of holiday best describes you?
Just family trip by the coast. Family trip, man. So like I moved up and I've got two brothers. One's in Adelaide, one's in Sydney with my mum, my younger brother. My mum's in Sydney, so we catch up for Easter and most Christmases. So a family holiday somewhere where we just get to spend times and they get to spoil my kids is really nice. Yeah, something simple, man.
Yeah,
Not bougie
for sure. Next one, drink can be like alcoholic, non-alcoholic.
A double espresso or a whiskey neat.
Ooh. As soon as you said whiskey neat, that song was just playing in my head. I'm not going to sing it. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll take my whiskey.
Oh,
yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, nice. All right, the next one, flour.
Self-raising.
Why am I the only one laughing at that? I'm dead. Okay. I was not expecting that. That's far out, low key. That was. Yeah, you got me. Come on.
Sorry, I'm letting that one fly.
Levels.
Keep moving.
I don't think I can come back from that. Holy moly. Okay. Was not expecting it. All right, next one. Animal.
We've got our title. We've got our title for the next day.
Animal. Rah, 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 rah. Alsatian.
Interesting. Why an Alsatian?
I don't know. They're regal, which I would like to try to aspire to, maybe. Loyal.
Regal. I like that word. Okay. Pass. In 3 words, not a category anymore. So you got 3 words to describe yourself.
Thoughtful, open-minded, and industrious.
I'm gonna have to look that one up, I think.
Easy.
Okay.
I don't recommend living in my brain.
Yeah. Okay. No, I gotcha. Last one, and it's not a category, but I feel like this is a perfect question for you. Okay. What is your life motto?
You know, like my stepfather taught my family, you're here for a short time, make it a good time. And there's a lot of levels to that. You know, I'm someone that tries to throw myself into everything I do, but I also often get distracted by the shiny thing out the corner of my eye. And I think not being rigid in that means wherever I go, I'm trying to be lit up and I'm trying to kind of stoke the flames of what's inside of me. And yeah, here for a short time, make it a good time. Yeah.
I'm very much the same. I love that. That's a great one. And that is the end of my questions.
Hey.
Short and sweet.
Nice.
Well done. Entertaining and well answered for the most part, Quinn. Some interesting ones there that we're going to have to ponder on later. Over to our next segment, Quinn. We've already done the touch stuff. So as you know, everything from here is all fun and getting to know you. And so the next part of the podcast, which I know you've listened to a couple of the other episodes of the games.
This is one with Jackson. Jackson.
So more.
He's a lad from Doyle.
Millsy. Yeah. So more fun and games. And as you would know, the background around this. So the score, we don't have Shanks here, but there's current score, I believe, Kimmy, after the last one, I'm up a couple, so it's 7-5. 7-5 at the moment. So, and the loser at the end of the season is going to have to skydive out of a plane. So,
out of you and Kimmy, or out of Shanks and Kimmy?
No, myself and Kimmy. So at the moment, I'm not comfortably, but I'm comfortable with the 2 point.
I don't know about skydiving, man. We have not evolved to fall from the sky. This is counterintuitive.
That's why we are going hard. And today we're going. Now I have to give a bit of background to this. So you did you were going to play against me, given the choice that I gave you, and I'll explain to you why. So I sent Quinn a message just saying, and there's a reason why I said this. So I gave you the choice between maroon and white, or
Oh,
maroon, blue,
yeah.
and gold.
That was a stitch up. I thought you were looking at a jersey design.
I wasn't, so I had to quickly move you on from it because Quinn gave me his choice. Then he's like, "What do you need help with? I'll get you some designs and I'll help you out." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I'll explain later." So it's actually for the game. So I wanted you to choose. So Kimmy was going to be the maroon and white, and myself, I was the maroon, gold, and blue. Reason behind that, finals footy fever. Both of our teams, different codes, but one on the weekend. Both were epic games. If you're listening to this and you haven't seen them, they'll hopefully be qualified for the big dance, the finals in their respective codes. But Manly
Doggies, man.
beat the Doggies on the weekend.
Die-hard Doggies fans, and yeah, they needed check-ins.
That was an epic win by Manly. That was such an exciting game. And then my team, the mighty Brisbane Lions, down by 44 points. I don't know if either of you saw that game. Down by 44 points, and came back and beat GWS down there, enemy territory, 105 to 100, I believe the score was. So both independently awesome efforts. And that's why I was getting you to choose between the two jersey colors, Quinn, which you didn't know about. So that's how it came about. So you were going to play against me, but since Kimmy's under the weather with COVID, you'll actually be playing against Kimmy. She just, with the COVID cloud, I didn't want to smash her with trying to figure out what to do. So with that in mind, I'm hoping you have a bit of an advantage there when it comes to thinking. So that's the backstory.
I actually didn't think about that either. When I was like, "Oh, Cess, you might have to help me out here. I don't think I've got the brain capacity." And then I was like, "Oh, hold on, wait. If you don't have the brain capacity, how are you going to?"
No, you're competing, yeah. So with that in mind as well, Kimmy. So that's the background around how we came to who you. So Quinn, today you'll be playing for me against Kimmy. So no mercy. Don't worry about the COVID stuff. Just go your hardest. Game number one. Now, thinking power in mind, Kimmy, what you just said around brain power, have gone easy on you here. So game one, we're going to do, it's called the easy quiz. So you're going to have just 30 seconds to answer as many easy questions as you can, just punch through them. And then obviously the most at the end win. So we'll take turns here. Volunteer to go first. I'm assuming we'll let Quinn go first as the guest. Kimmy, you sit back and relax. So I'll start the clock. We don't have Shanks here with us, so I'm going to have to
wait. So 30 seconds, quick fire questions.
Questions.
I'm not competitive.
Answer as many questions as you can. If you don't know something, pass. If you get the question wrong, don't worry about it. We're just going to keep moving on.
Okay. All right.
30 seconds. Time will start at the end of the first one, and your time starts at the end. I was going to say now, but at the end of the first question. Question number one for you, Quinn. What is the capital of France?
Paris?
What fruit is known as having seeds on the outside?
Durian.
What is the largest planet in our solar system?
Pass.
Which animal is known as the king of the jungle?
Lion.
What is the main ingredient in guacamole?
Avocado.
What do you call a baby cat?
Kitten.
Time's up. So let's recap. It goes very quickly.
That did go quickly.
You had 4 questions out of 6 right. So the ones you got wrong, fruit known as having seeds on the outside. Kimmy, do you want to, well, you don't steal it, but do you want to answer that one?
A strawberry.
Strawberry, correct.
Oh, yeah.
And largest planet in our solar system?
Yeah.
Oh, no, pass.
Jupiter. Okay, Kimmy, so the score to beat is 4.
Why is this so bright on my face all of a sudden? Holy moly. I look pale as, that's the COVID. Okay, sorry. Carry on.
Here we go. Time starts at the end of the first question. There's 2 rounds, by the way, for this. So, Quinn, you're currently on 4. What is the primary colour of the sun?
Yellow.
What shape has 4 equal sides?
Square.
What is the name of the fairy in Peter Pan?
Tinkerbell.
What do you call a house where bees live?
Hive.
What is 5 plus 13?
18.
Time's up.
I feel like I feel like
Five.
are we making like an allowance grading for Kimmy's brain fog here? Because I don't know if the
It's absolute luck of the draw.
Okay,
Quinn,
okay,
luck of the
okay.
draw.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Round 2.
Kimmy up by 1. 5-4. So this will accumulate. So Quinny, here we go. Time starts at the end of the first question. What is the main ingredient in bread?
Wheat.
What do you call the frozen form of water?
Ice.
What red fruit is often mistaken for a vegetable?
Tomato.
What do you call a person who flies a plane?
Pilot.
What is the name of the river that flows through Egypt?
Nile.
How many continents on Earth?
7.
Time's up.
Did I miss the continents?
No, you got that?
8.
So 1, 2, 3,
Good
4,
round.
5. 5 questions right. The main ingredient in bread is flour. When you missed out on that.
Flour, ground wheat is flour. This is
Yeah.
You
Don't
should
have a
know-
referee here, so
You should know that, Mr. Self-raising.
yeah, I know. I almost choked up on that one when it just landed on you. I didn't plan that at all. Okay, continuing on, Kimmy, you need 5, and it's game over. Let's go. Time starts at the end of the question. What is the longest? Sorry, luckily it starts at the end. What is the largest planet in the solar system?
A pass. Jupiter.
What is the term for the study of plants?
Pass.
What is the largest land animal?
Elephant.
What month is Christmas in?
December.
What shape is a typical stop sign?
Hexagon.
Name the famous ship that sunk in 1912?
Titanic.
Time's up.
You are asking these questions so bloody slow, Cess. Come on.
I feel like we have the same rhythm as
High
what
ball
Quinn's
game.
saying.
No, you're actually
1, 2,
not.
3, 4.
I
We're gonna
rebuttal.
off.
Kimmy, 4. Quinn. Okay, so what we'll do now, tied ball game. I have how many questions here? 1, 2, 3, 4.
What is the largest
What's-
planet in the solar system?
Jupiter.
Did you accept my Jupiter answer?
You passed.
No,
Because I went
Passed
back and I
and
said
moved on.
Jupiter. Well, because it was the answer. It was a question
it
that
was
you asked
answered before as well. What was that one? Anyway, whatever it was Jupiter as well. So
I
what we're going to
answered
do
it.
with this last one?
I did
No,
answer
but
it.
we'd passed and moved on.
And then
So-
I answered it before you asked the next question.
Even Stevens, moving into the last one, we're going to, so whoever buzzes in first, that'll be the fairest way to do it. So if you know this, but if you get it wrong, then the other person will have a shot at the steal.
Got a cat here around my ankles.
Okay. So just use your name as buzzers. Don't need a timer anymore, which is good.
How many
Okay,
questions?
first question. There's 7 left, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Are we doing
6,
all 7 or are we doing 30 seconds?
No. So it's just 7 questions. First to buzz in.
Okay.
Quinn, your buzzer is Quinn. Kimmy, your buzzer is Kimmy. What do you call a person who repairs cars?
Quinny.
Me.
Mechanic.
Quinny.
Did you actually hear me say Kimmy? Because Kimmy and Quinny, you said Quinn and Kimmy.
I heard Quinny, Kimmy.
Oh,
Chris-
yeah, because
Chris-
Quinny and Kimmy are too close. I'll do Quinn.
All right.
140,
I'm already objecting to this whole game. Carry on.
You can listen back. What is a baby dog called?
Quinn.
Kimmy.
I don't know past.
Kimmy for the steal.
Can I just point out, I actually said my name. I heard me say my name first. And I'm waiting for you to tell who gets to answer first.
I heard Quinn, but he's passed anyway. So regardless, Kim, it's over to you.
It's a puppy. But I'm not gonna get in.
I thought you said baby doll, and I was like, I have no idea. Anyway,
No, baby dog. Question 3. What is the capital of Australia?
Kimmy, surely you heard me first.
Yes.
yours.
Canberra.
Yes. Question 4. What animal is associated with Touch Football Australia?
Kimmy.
Emu.
No, I got a tie there. I did. I got
what?
exactly at the same time.
Okay,
so we'll
okay.
cancel that there.
Hey, fun story. I ate emu a month ago. Emu, crocodile tail, and kangaroo loin.
I'm going to tell you a fun story. I feel like there's a delay in the connection from New South Wales up to Queensland. Because I kid you not, I clearly heard my name before Twin Dog.
What are you hearing him, Quinn? Because I heard him right together.
I heard myself early on that one, but the others have been pretty close.
I'm going to add that as a tie. This is what happens when we don't have Shanks here as a ref. Next one.
I'll stop answering and you can dictate who was first, because I've done that twice and that's not really good.
What's the score check?
Even.
No, Kimmy up by 1.
Oh, what?
What is it? 3-2. So there's what, 2 more questions?
3 more questions. Because that one cancelled out.
Okay.
Fair.
What is the cold season called?
Queen, little Kimmy.
She said Quinn Kimmy.
Queen or Kimmy?
Winter?
So
Queen, you're doing it again.
okay. No win for that one.
It's
I'm
not
taking it.
intentional.
Okay.
What if we do these ones? Like,
That's a bit.
Yeah.
It's a bit Hitler.
okay, people can't forget it. We'll just go with it.
Okay.
Just go with it. Go.
Sorry. All right. Behave.
What is the name of the fairy tale sleeping princess?
Kimmy,
Kimmy, you did get in there first.
Sleeping Beauty.
Yes.
It's over, baby.
It's over. Let's ask this one for fun. What continent
No
is
game 7
England
when
part
you've
of?
won 4.
Okay, but you didn't hear that one anyway. So Kimmy's won that one. So we are now at 7-6 in the games. Well done, Kimmy. Game number 2. So this one, really interesting before, Kimmy, that you gave us a little bit of a rendition of Whiskey Neat, because game 2 is songs. So we're going to use the same buzzers. This one is a little bit harder, though. It's definitely not the easy game questions. So there will be a little bit of hesitation, I think, if someone's going to jump in. So game 2 is songs. I'm going to give you a word. What you have to do then is give me a song that incorporates that word, either into it'll be a very popular first line of a song, or it can be the chorus or whatever. It just has to incorporate this word that I give you. So names are the buzzers. Extra point if you sing the chorus or whatever, including the word.
Can you give us an example?
No, because these are pretty easy words.
No, but what I mean is, so you're going to say a word, and then we just have to obviously say our name buzzer, and then sing a song that has that word.
That's
in
it.
the song.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Right. Yeah.
First word is, and by the way, before we jump into this, feel free to play at home for anyone listening in. I don't know how they would have went with the quiz if they beat you both there, but definitely jump in with any of these songs. So first word is believe.
Quinn. Good to go. I believe I can fly.
Wow.
I believe
Double
I can
points.
touch the sky. We don't really do R. Kelly, actually. That's a bit.
I know, but
I know,
damn, you far out. You can sing too.
You can sing. Yeah, wow. That's double points. Let's move on from the R. Kelly reference. Word number 2 for you is chance.
Kimmy. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Double points. So 2 and 2. Okay. I've got 11 for you here in case we're tied at the end of it. Third word is time.
Quinn is freezing up. I had the time of my life.
Yeah, good
Okay,
one.
well done. Good save. Good save. Quinn with 2 points there. Word number 4 is love.
Quinn. Oh, sorry. Hold on. This is socks. We got and I hate how much I love you. I can't stand how much I care. Rihanna, the girl.
I know the
Nice
one.
one.
Tick.
The girl.
I'm rolling my eyes because I'm literally like I'm going through a brain fog. And it's really
He's
annoying.
doing well. Word number 5 is fight or fighter.
Kimmy. Oh, I can't. And it's Christina Aguilera. I actually don't think I can sing it. Because oh no.
5, 4.
You gotta fight for your right to party. We'll go with that one.
Okay,
I
you went with that one.
wasn't gonna sing Christina. How does Christina's one go? Remind me.
That's the verse.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
I went
Okay.
safe.
Word number 6. Dance.
Quinn.
Kimmy.
Ooh, you take it.
I think mine's a little bit unfair. I was just gonna be. I like to dance, 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 dance. You. Da-da-da-da-da. What's that song? All my favorite brands. You. You know the one? And it goes on and on and on, because it goes on and on and on. I throw my hands up in the air sometimes, singing.
Oh, is that?
Baby, let's go.
Is that
My
Nina?
life, yeah.
No.
Oh. But
Not
it starts off by
Nina.
saying
It was one of those
dance, dance,
anthem
dance.
bangers
Yeah.
from the 2010s.
Yeah. So whoever knows that will be screaming out what the name of the song is, but accepted. Okay. Word number 4 is
Dynamite.
party.
It was dynamite. Dynamite. Sorry.
Correct. It was dynamite. Word number 4, if you didn't hear it, is party.
Kimmy. We ain't here to party. That tone was really off.
I just feel like, judging from your song choice, I feel like you would be good fun to spend a Friday night with.
I'd like to think so. We came here to party.
Word number 8 is heart.
Kimmy. My heart will go on, and I will take the 1 point because I do not want to embarrass myself any further.
1 point. Fair enough. Fair enough. Word number 9, forever.
Quinn.
Kimmy.
Quinn.
Forever young. I want to be forever young.
That was going to be my go-to.
Excellent. Well done, Quinny. 2 points. Number 10, second last one, is smile.
Oh, what's that song?
Oh, there's got to be.
Right.
I'm not confident enough.
There's actually a song called Smile. I'm pretty sure. No, I've gone blank. Can't even give you the next line to it.
I feel like there's a Lyle the Crocodile song in there somewhere. But...
Okay, last one is, the word is home.
Quinn.
Oh.
Ooh. I think it was Kim. I thought I heard Kim.
Ooh.
Are you ready for it? Here we go. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home, country roads.
Well done. Very fitting too, because Charlie Cameron, Brisbane Lions small forward, his song when he kicks a goal at the Gabba is Country Road. So well done. Kimmy, with the win there, we're back on even Stevens, 7-all. Well played. Well played, Quinn. Thanks for repping me there, even though you couldn't get me on the board. Thanks for playing and thanks for competing your hardest. All good, all good. Mate, worth it. Worth it. I'll take the L there for to listen to your beautiful vocals in that game too. So well done. You can take a breather for 2 seconds, because our next segment, even though he's not here, is Shank's shout out, where we just give a shout out to someone who has made a comment or reviewed us on the podcast recently. So just a reminder to anyone out there that is listening to us, a like and review to all of our socials that Kimmy posts on, and also for the podcast itself, whatever platform you listen to, if you can give us a rating and review where it allows you to, because I believe Spotify you can only choose the stars, but Apple, I think you can actually write something. And we did receive an email from the president of Touch Switzerland, Tom Poules, over the weekend, just to thank us for the episode with Micah. Not sure that we put Touch Switzerland on the map, but he said, thank you for putting Touch Switzerland in the spotlight. Thank you for a phenomenal and funny podcast. Thanks for having Micah on there. So nice to listen to. And Kimmy, you'll love this. He's promised to bring some personal Ladarak, hopefully I've pronounced that correctly, chocolate when he's coming down to Australia in early October. So I cannot wait to get my hands on some of those. So thank you very much, Tom, for reaching out, and our pleasure talking to Micah and talking all things Touch Switzerland.
I will just make one special request. If you can bring some without the hassleness, would be great.
Yes. Okay, I'll make that request. Previous guest question. So I will jump into that question from Micah. And this is for all of us. So Micah did ask, let me just see where I can find that question. So if this is for all of us, if you were to work at the circus, what job would you choose?
Ooh. If I was physically capable, I reckon the trapeze.
Nice.
Interesting.
I would 100% be out the back in the kitchen. Love cooking, love being in a kitchen environment. Yes, chef, heard chef. I would be out the back making slinky potatoes and chopping up pico de gallo for the tacos for sure.
Interesting. Okay. I would probably like to be, have you seen, and I go down a spiral with these videos. Have you seen the videos of the guy? So I'd be a ride operator. The reason being, because I would love the prank side of it. So have you seen the one where the guy, he's got a GoPro set up or whatever, and it's one of those, it's like the giant drop where you click a button and then you lose your stomachs and it drops however many feet. So if you've seen his videos, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So he's got them set up, and he says to the couple, because it's a double-seated thing, and he says to them, oh, wait a minute, I've just got a red light here, I've got to check something. Or, oh, hang on, I forgot to put the shoulder strap on. And they're checking it, and he walks around, he's ready to click the button, and then 2 seconds they drop. It is the best. That would make my day, just doing that all day, every day. So that would be my choice at the circus.
You're a
I think
minute.
it'd just be fun. Yeah, I'd love it. I'd love it. So thank you for that question, Micah. I really appreciate it. Trapeze artist, Kimmy, I wouldn't have picked that. And kitchen, I wouldn't have picked that for you, Quinn, either. So good to get to know.
It'd be a mad flex. I physically couldn't do it. So I was like, if my body was capable, I'd love to be able to say I'm a trapeze artist at the circus.
You would have been training since you were practically born, I'd say, anyway, if you were going down that, because I feel like most of them are, right? Like you see a lot of those videos where they're training as soon as they can walk, pretty much they're doing flips and whatever, those circus families. So yeah, it would be very cool. Food question for you, Quinny, the next one. Let's last couple of questions for you for the podcast. And this is for all of us as well. So a food related question before we get to our last one. What fruit, and it's just interesting because we've talked about weird and wonderful things, not by choice, but that you've brought up in this podcast, Quinn, so I can't wait to hear this answer. Name a fruit to describe yourself and why.
Jackfruit. Versatile, textured. Jackfruit. There's a low-hanging fruit, excuse the pun, with kiwi fruit there. But I'm pretty bloody Australian. So yeah, jackfruit. Good substitute for pulled barbecue meat.
It is. I again wouldn't have picked that. So, but not surprising because you've hit us with a lot of surprising things in this chat. So yeah, nice one, Kimmy.
I would go with a mangosteen. Now, if you're Asian, you should know what a mangosteen is, but it's basically, it's delicious. And that's not why I've picked it. It's basically, it's got a really hard outer. And then once you take that outer off, it's actually got like a really sweet and intricate center with sometimes it's got like a pip on the inside as well. So that's a surprise element. But yeah, I feel like I've got a really hard exterior, and a lot of my mates have told me when they first met me, they thought that I was, we'll call it, I've got resting bitch face. So I give off like quite hard vibes, but when you get to know me, I'm actually completely the opposite. So
That's the answer.
I'd go with a mangosteen.
We must give similar vibes, Kimmy, because my answer is very much along those lines. So I went for the good old coconut, hard exterior, not a fantastic exterior either, you know, the husk, and then you get into the furry bit, but all the good stuff is inside. So that's what my answer. I have been asked that question before in an interview.
Guys. Well, I have a, can I detour? I have a question.
Yes.
You're both Filipino background, born in Australia, both of you?
I was born in Cebu in the Philippines, but came here when I was 2, so don't know any different.
I was actually born in Singapore.
Are you all like Filipino mother, father, both sides?
Just on my mum's side, my dad's Australian.
Same.
Because I'm Aussie born. Dad was Māori, Cook Islander. Mum was Pākehā, Caucasian. And then growing up, like you're the same generation. So growing up Australian with that kind of blended cultural background creates some interesting things around identity and stuff. Yeah, sorry, detour.
No, it's a good detour and something that, especially for people like myself and Kimmy and even Shanks, who's part of this podcast, and a lot of Filipinos that we know have that very similar, identity, not crisis, but I guess exploration to do when they're growing up. And I think that's why the touch community is such a draw for Filipinos and Islanders. And I think away from the touch field, that's what brings us together, as well as USOs, but also on the touch field as well in on a wider aspect. I think it makes it really easy to connect, both on and off the touch field.
I think for me, like that's exactly kind of relatable. I think for me, like there's that period of like adolescence where you're trying to work out like who am I and am I normal, and where are my reference points for that. And I think when you're kind of like mixy matchy and maybe a little too brown for the white folk and a little too white for the brown folk, and there's not really a clear reference point for cultural identity, I think you probably establish something based on kind of character and individualism, and in the long run it's maybe a little more steady. But I hooped with basketball as another like mistress of mine, and I used to hoop in the Filipino community in Western Sydney. I used to get up early, go out and play and run in their Western Sydney basketball tournaments and stuff, or just organized within community, not affiliated with association stuff, and loved the Filipino community. They would have like Gulaman in big like Gatorade kind of things, and bring like adobo and stuff when it was a big tournament. So I've got a lot of love for the Filo community, man, especially in Western Sydney. Those boys can hoop. Genetics have been cruel to the Filipinos because they can hoop.
Imagine if
Sudanese boys just jumped over them all.
Imagine if Filipinos were on average 6 foot. I mean,
Yeah, dude.
we dominate the NBA.
We're going to get him into touch. Perfect bill for touch.
Exactly. Yes, exactly right. Great segue, actually, Quinny, into our last question for the podcast, because I think it's something that brings a lot of our cultures together is the food element, and you spoke about adobo there. But rice, we always ask our guests, what is your fave dish to have with rice?
So in being from the inner western belt of Sydney and now living on the Sunshine Coast, we miss the accessibility to amazing rice dishes and Asian food. So here at home, we make a pretty good lemongrass beef and chili rice bowl. We make a pretty good chicken katsu bowl with tonkatsu sauce and Kewpie mayo. But a good solid fried rice, man, egg fried rice is a bit of a good meal when you're feeling a bit down and needing a burst. So I'll go with that, bro.
Egg fried rice?
Egg fried rice. Herbs, spring onion, shallots, coriander.
Nice. Good question. That's two episodes in a row we've had the fried rice. Additional egg that we didn't have in the last one, but I like it. Good answer. Quinny, thank you very, very much for joining us for Touch Footy with a side of rice, a side of fun and games. Thank you for partaking in our podcast and all the little games that we have to go with it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the 7.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Touch and Rice podcast. Please join us on all our socials, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Touch and Rice Podcast.